Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Maui by Next Move Games.
Maui is a game in which you are going to be buying tiles from a market, and these tiles have beach towels on them, and you are trying to match patterns of beach towels on your beach. I know that makes absolutely no sense as I'm telling you about it, but let me show you how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's Maui from Next Move Games. Let me show you guys this drafting pattern building game in which you are going to be taking care of a beach, playing towels in a certain pattern to advance on these tracks that you see here as far as you can to earn the most points to be the winner of this game. Now, there's a lot of components to this. Everybody's going to have their own player board with a nice beach artwork on it. And you are going to have a central market with these beach tiles on them. And these beach tiles have 3 patterns each, one on top, one in the middle, and one below. And you're going to orient them with the sand dollar icon here in the top right, at the top right, so that everyone knows what is the correct order of those patterns on the particular tile. You also have some sand dollar tokens that are going to act as a currency throughout the course of the game. And you are going to have some negative point tokens for whenever you play tiles off of your beach. Real quick, this is the Token Sesame token tray holder. And if you'd like to see more about it, there's a link down in the description of the video that you can check out. And there's a discount code down there as well. You also have a bag, a really nice cloth bag here that is going to hold all of your beach towel tokens. And there's a whole bunch in there too, and it's a good size to be able to stick your hand in and be able to get a tile out easily. Now, you do have 4 different player colors here, and I'm going to make a point to talk about this as this will come up in our review. You can see we have a blue color here with 2 different types of umbrella tokens, and this works fine. This is perfect. You have white, and while white is a fine color to play with, the tokens here are very similar. It's kind of hard to tell them apart. That's not a huge problem. The bigger problem are these 2 colors. As you can see, we have a red and then a pinkish red, but man, are they very similar, and it is hard to distinguish, especially the different shells here, which is which. So that is a bit of an issue. And as I mentioned, you do have a nice beach here. You're going to mix up these tiles and place them on their respective spots on your player board like such. And you would do the same with these tokens as well. So we'll do that real quick. And once you have them all in their spots, you're going to flip them over to reveal what they are. And they're either going to be this yellow kind of pearl or the pink kind of pearl. We'll come back to what those are good for here in a second. But there's also 2 tokens that look something like this, where they have 2 of the different types of tracks that you can advance on. And again, we'll come back to what that means here in just a second. You also have these 5 shells right here. Now, these are going to be for your score tracks, so that you are going to be trying to progress these shells down the different tracks as far as you can before the end of the game. And you do have a first player token, and so you'll give that to your first player, and all players are going to get an equal number of turns in this game. So what is it you're trying to do? Well, you are trying to match off of your starting tile, which is going to start here on this side of the dock, and you're going to match the patterns here, zigzagging your way across the beach, hopefully picking up these tokens along the way, and hopefully making it to the end of your beach. And for each connection that you make, you're going to advance a number of spots down the different tracks. So on your turn, you have 2 choices. You can take one of the tiles from the market, drafting, or you can take a pile of sand dollars. So how does it work? Well, either one of these spots are going to be free. So you could take either one of these and place it on your board, and you don't have to pay anything for them. Or you can take from here and pay 1 sand dollar, or take from here and pay 2 sand dollars. And if you take from the top row, you are going to be paying your sand dollars to the pile on top. And if you take from the bottom row, you are going to be paying them to the pile on the bottom. And as you can see, the arrows there, if I take this one here, this arrow is going to push this tile down to that spot, and we would refill this spot drawing from the bag. So I might pay sand dollars to get one of these tiles, Or I might just take this one that is free, and having taken this one, I would try to make connections with my starting tile. And as you can see, I've made two because the blue pattern matches and the yellow and white pattern matches. And so now I would go all the way down here to this end of my board, and my connections were in both of these rows, and there's ones here. And so that means for those patterns, I would advance one spot for each connection. So one spot for the blue, and so we would move the blue shell to there, and one spot for the yellow, so we would move yellow to there. And if I had made those connections in the more extreme outer parts of my board, I would get more points for them, advancing 2 spaces, advancing 3 spaces. So it may not behoove me to take a tile, even though it gets 2 connections. To keep in this middle region, I may want to try and get on the outside of the board because that's how I advance down the track farther. So I might end up taking a tile sort of like this one, for instance, and playing this option instead, because even though that only gets me 1, now I'm out here on the outside parts of my board, and I can make connections out here, which will help me a whole lot more. But here is the catch to doing that. If instead on a future turn, maybe I take this tile right here and make this connection, yes, I have made this connection for blue, and this outer line right here is worth 3, so I would advance blue 3 spots, which is really nice. But I have gone out of bounds, and so because these two are off of my beach, I would have to take these negative penalty tokens, placing them out here, and I am not able to make connections with those spots out there. Now, if I can make my pattern line up so that I am collecting these tokens along the way, then I will get to gain them, adding them, the pearls, to their matching spots over here. And this is a little bit of set collection. If I can only get 1, it's worth 2 points. If I can get 2 of the same, then they're worth 5 points. And if I can get all 3 of one set, it's worth 9 points. You'll score both the yellow and pink pearls the same way. Picking up these tokens right here is going to let you advance 1 spot on either one of these tracks, so the blue or the pink, or the blue and the yellow track. Now, if I don't want to take any of the tiles that are out here in the market, I could take a pile of sand dollars here, gaining them and adding them to my resources to be able to use on a future turn. But if all of the sand dollar tokens are gone and there are none out here, then I have to take a tile. And I could take any tile I want, not paying anything for it, and it would go on my board. Now, if I am able to make connections, or even if I'm not able to make connections, I get nothing for placing this tile out here. I don't get to advance on the track in any way, and if I cover up one of these tokens, I don't gain the benefit. It just simply goes away, and it does have to go in this center section right here. So this is something you want to try to avoid at all costs. And that's the gist of the game. When somebody gets all the way down here to the end, then they are going to end the game, and everybody will get an equal number of turns. So whoever hasn't gone that round will get one last chance to try and fit another tile on their board. And then you will give yourself points for how far you advanced on your track. You'll get points for your sand dollars, and whoever has, or excuse me, your pearls, and whoever has the most points is the winner. And that is how you play Maui. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Maui from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, first impressions, seeing this out on the table, what'd you think?
It's a tile laying game, so
Yep.
I like the looks of it. I like the beach theme.
Okay.
It seemed pretty simple.
Yeah.
Easy setup. So
You're a beach girl, right? So like
Yes.
this is probably something that hits close to home to you.
yes.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it's tiling, and it is in the sense, right? You are laying a tile on your board each turn. You're really matching patterns, right?
Yes.
These beach tiles, making a pattern, trying to line them up in whatever gives you the most points.
Yeah.
What'd
It's kind of like a very basic version of like King Domino.
Okay.
But like linear. It's
Okay.
just linear.
Okay, I can see that. Some of the people we've played this with have kind of said that it feels a little bit like Azul, which is made by the same publishing company, same publishing brand. What did you think about that as far as this pattern building mechanic?
I didn't think about it as being Azul-like, but I like that. I think that's it. I think pattern matching and things like that are really good games for non-gamers. I think it's so visual that you can see what's going on. It's not as much mental.
It's not a cerebral aspect.
Yeah, you do kind of have to a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, it's very visual, and so I think that's helpful for the non-gamer.
Yeah, we've talked about that in some other videos before, that games that are very visual and visual pleasing to the eye even have a better luck when working with non-gamers, and that aspect of just being able to see it helps it be intuitive, I think, to most people. And I think you're right. I think that comes through in this game. Let's talk about just strategy-wise, or not necessarily strategy, but being able to play this game well and be successful in this game. How did you feel about that, being a non-gamer?
I mean, I think it's pretty easy. I mean, it might even be a little too simple.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's simple for everybody. So I think every time it's a pretty close game, which is good, I think. A non-gamer has just as much luck, especially maybe the second playthrough.
Okay.
First playthrough, you're kind of figuring out, but it's a quick game, so it's easy to play that second round. And everyone is really on the same playing field, I think, because there's not that much strategy to it. You can't vary your playing ability that much.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think at max you can really only plan ahead one turn.
Yeah.
Because of how small the market is.
Yes, how small the market is, how limited you are with your space. You really can only vary your next towel by 2 spaces up or down.
You're either going to the extreme top.
Yeah.
One off the middle, in the middle, one below the middle, or the extreme bottom. So there's, what is that, 5
But it
spots?
depends on what your towel is before that. So you can,
that's true.
You can only
That's
go
true.
up so much or down so much. So
yeah. Pros and cons. Let's talk about the things that you really enjoyed about Maui. What stood out to you?
I think it's easy to explain. Sometimes even with, Azul is a pretty easy game. King Domino is a pretty easy game and some of my favorite games, but sometimes it takes a little bit to get people on board to kind of understand what's going on. This one's so straightforward that it's easy to explain and easy for non-gamers to play.
I would agree with that. I think the teach for this game is
and
less
that's
than
not
5 minutes.
That's something we talk about too often, but I appreciate that.
For sure.
And it's fun. I think, like you said, you can really only, excuse me, you can really only plan ahead about 1, maybe 2 moves, but that's it. And so with the market, you're not too frustrated. There seems to always be 1 or 2. I think the running out of sand dollars is the only thing that kind of gets in the way. Maybe if there's a way to like earn more sand dollars or something like that.
Okay.
And maybe there could be like a special stash of towels.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think that is a bigger issue in higher player counts. In a 4-player game, that was something that we really kind of ran into, was you either needed to make sure you always had a sand dollar on you so that you could at least buy something more than the free ones, buying you some time, because there definitely comes a point in the game where if you have no sand dollars and there's none for you to take, then you're going to get stuck with something you don't want. And to come back to a game we've already mentioned several times, that's the same kind of idea that happens in Azul. If you don't time the way the market is getting drafted, you might get stuck with something that you don't want and you can't use, and it's negative points, and that's just too bad. Same idea. You're not getting negative points per se. I mean, you definitely could. Hopefully the thing the tile you draft is still usable in some way to you. But it may not be the one you really want. So that can happen in this game. Any other pros or cons? We've kind of drifted off into the cons here.
No, I mean, I think it has a great theme without being too themey. I'm not a big theme person, but you get it. It's beach towels, it's umbrellas. I like that.
It's kind of an odd theme a little bit. Oh,
biggest con, the colors.
Oh, yes.
If they could change, love this game. There is orange and there is pink, and they are so similar.
Well, you say orange and pink. I say it's more like burgundy and
light red and dark red.
Light red and dark red. Yeah.
Out of all the colors in the world, if they could have just picked one of those to be a different color.
Yeah.
Because it's not too much of an issue with the towels because they're different patterns. But when you're moving up the scoreboard,
yes,
you're like, wait a second.
Okay,
and also,
who was that again?
Yeah. There's two seashells. The coloring is so similar. And then the actual moving up, you can't really tell because it's mostly white. Which one's the lighter red, which one's the darker red. Yeah,
I will absolutely 100% agree with that. That there's some questionable decisions as far as the production goes with the coloring scheme on that. I think, if you're playing less than 4 players, you can obviously work around that by not using those 2-player colors. If you're playing all 4, that's going to be the issue. So
yeah.
And my con, and I've already kind of dabbled on this a little bit, is at 4 players, I feel like the game isn't as great as it is at the lower player counts. And usually that's with games that works the other way around. Games usually tend to be better at higher player counts.
Yeah.
I think in this one, this is an excellent 2-player game because the market is the size that it is that makes it so that you can plan 1 or 2 turns ahead. In a 2-player game, you absolutely can't do that in a 4-player game because the market's going to be just all completely turned over.
Yeah.
So in a 2-player game, you can do that. I love that aspect of this because I can plan out my next couple of moves so long as she doesn't screw it up, which she totally can. But that's something that you got to think about with this one. All right, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What did you think about Maui?
I feel like it sounds like I've been
bashing the game,
but I think because we liked it and because we were able to play it so many times, you're able to kind of think about what could make this better. And I think you do that with games you really like.
Yeah.
And I really like this game, and I'd probably give it an 8.3.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking, honestly, folks, whenever we got prepared to do this video, I was thinking Sam was going to say something pretty high, and as she came out with just throwing punches at this game, I was thinking, oh no, she's going to give it a really low score. We did have an excellent time with this game, and not only that, just about everybody we played this with had a really good time with it as well. And we're talking non-gamers, people that that come to the gaming table begrudgingly. They had a good time with this one, and it was, like Sam described, a very easy teach, a very easy getting into it and getting the flow of the game and the handle of what you're trying to do. Was it so straightforward that it was dull? No, not at all. It's still a challenge to plan your turns out, get the tiles you want, make sure to manage your sand dollars, getting those little umbrellas along the way, observing where everybody's at on the score track and how they're going up and trying to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, that's fun with this game. It really works. I am probably a little lower than Sam. I think I'm about a 7.9 on this one. It's a very solid game. Just maybe misses the 8s for me, but a very good game nonetheless. So 8.3, 7.9, pretty high scores for Maui. It is from Next Move Games. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this one.
Make sure to like and subscribe and press that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.